we're ready.
All right, I'm calling the Justice Committee to order. It is, we're late, 4:01. We have 6 members present in the room, and Member Reeves has requested to attend remotely. Let's see, having conducting the opening roll call and declared a quorum is physically present, I would like to inform the committee that Member Reeves has requested to participate remotely under County Board Rule 20-20 and in accordance with Open Meetings Act. Notice was received from Member Reeves in accordance with our rules. Per Board Rule 2020, Member Reeves will be authorized to attend the meeting electronically if a motion to approve the member's electronic attendance is made, seconded, and adopted by a majority of the members of the committee. I have a motion to approve Member Reeves' attendance. Motion by Member Roseman, second by Member Zebarth. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And the motion is passed, and the record will reflect that Member Reeves is present for the meeting. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you.
All right. We'll start with appearance by members of the public.
We've had no requests this evening.
We're here waiting to hear from everybody, so come and see us. Number 3 is consent agenda, approval of the minutes from April 8th, 2025 regular meeting and the March 13th, 2025 stand-up meeting minutes, as well as recommend approval of bills and transfers. Bills totaling $1,032,159.20. Can I have a motion? Motion by Member Roseman, second by Member Byrne. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or changes? Nope. All right. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
I'll try and delay myself, Member Reeves, so that you can vote. All those in favor, they voted yes, so those are approved. Next up, we have Department Matters. Number 4, first up, we have Ron Lewis, the Public Defender. We have no items to be presented for action. We have his caseload report for information. Mr. Lewis, do you have anything specifically for us?
Yes, the caseload report, as usual, but I'd also like to indicate that our construction project is going well. That was approved. The front office footprint, if you will, which has 5 or 6 personnel in it, we moved that footprint from one location to the other one that we had built for us, and that opens up some more of the project, the rest of the project down the road. But I'd like to compliment facilities management and IT. They did a great job moving us over what we thought would be an all-day project. Took 3 hours. Whatever they're doing it great. So just wanted to mention that. Thanks, Tony.
All right, it's good to hear. Next up, we have 4B. Suzanne Montoya, Court Services Director. We have one item to be presented for action, and it is to request approval of an agreement with the Center for Human Services for a peer support specialist as part of the SWIFT Certain and Fair Grant. Can I have a motion? Motion by Member Hanson, second by Member Zebarth. Want to explain this to us? Sorry.
Good evening. In March, I presented an emergency appropriation to amend my budget as we were awarded a subrecipient of the AOIC grant, the SWIFT Certain and Fair Grant. As part of that budget, we are requesting to contract with Center for Human Services for a peer support specialist. We've had an excellent opportunity with them. We have worked with Chestnut for years with our problem-solving courts with peer support specialists, and the clients have a lot of relatability with them, and they do a great job with those clients. So we want to try to replicate those services with the emerging adult population, the 18 to 25-year-olds. So,
does anybody have any questions? Nope. All right. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it, and the request is approved of the agreement with the Center of Human Services for the peer support specialist as part of the SWIFT Certain and Fair Grant. I don't see any other items up for action. We have your Court Services Adult and Juvenile Division statistics. Is there anything you'd like to point out to us?
Nope, just the monthly statistics. If you have any questions about those, I'd be happy to answer them.
Anybody? Nope. All right, thank you. Moving on, 4C, the Children's Advocacy Center. No items for action, and your monthly report is in the packet. Do you have anything you'd like to point out or present to us?
Nothing to point out on the monthly report, but I'm open to questions.
Anybody have any questions? Nope. All right. Moving along to 4D, State's Attorney Reynolds. We have an item to be presented for action, 4D1A, which is request approval of a State of Illinois intergovernmental agreement between the Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services and the McLean County State's Attorney, agreement number 2026-55-013-IGA. Can I have a motion? Motion by Member Roseman, second by Member Hanson. Madam Attorney, State's Attorney?
Thank you. So this is an agreement that's being presented to you as an option. As I made you guys recently aware, the Attorney General's office is responsible by statute to engage in child support enforcement. And as a result of that, they have implemented a model throughout the state where they contract with local counties, asking state's attorneys to do that service for them. And in the event that the state's attorney's offices refuse to engage in that, then they do child support enforcement themselves. We have had this child support agreement in place for decades with, different changes throughout the year, but basically the same model, and that the agreement's been in place for a really long time. We recently ran through the 5-year contract agreement, and the Attorney General's office came to me requesting to re-up that for 2 years. Because of concerns about their failure to cover the expenses within that department, I requested a 1-year contract, which they have agreed. So that is what's being presented to you. As I stated, when I spoke to each of you individually, I would be coming to you with different options. So I have 3 different options essentially to present to you for a vote today. The first would be an agreement to this contract as written, and the status quo remains, with the caveat being it's now a 1-year contract, and there's an increase of 4% on the previous funds that they paid us. That would still leave us significantly in debt, which means you would be required to pay that money out of property taxes within the county. So that would come out of the general fund. The second proposal is we agree to this contract with the understanding that we will not go over the allotted amount, and then it would be my responsibility to get with county administration and determine, and I believe that we could potentially do it, service that contract with the resources we have available. That may mean eliminating their current position within the county offices and moving them into my office, which would allow the county administration to rent out their current office to another state entity, which then would be paying the bills within that office and paying rent, which the Attorney General's office refuses to do, or putting some of the individuals within the office on contract. And so we would service it as if we are now and do the best we could, but we wouldn't go over the allotted amount of money. The third option would be to not renew this contract at all and require the Attorney General to do what they are required to do by statute. There are pluses and minuses to every option, and so as an attorney, I will explain those to you. The first option, of course, you're going to have to vote to use money out of the general fund, the property taxes, and support the money that the Attorney General's office is not doing. And again, the Attorney General by statute is required to do this job. So that burden is being, alleviated on the state taxpayer, but then is falling on the McLean County taxpayer to take care of. And so that is the downside to choosing that option. The upside, though, is that with that enforcement, I can't promise how the Attorney General's office will do this job, but we do a remarkably effective job in doing that. And so that you guys have the numbers, which I know that I've previously shared with you. But in the fiscal year, because it goes to June to July in the state budget cycle, last year we got $8.5 million throughout that year of unpaid child support that was paid to the, for lack of a better phrase, non-offending caretaker of the children. That is historical cases that were ordered, a decade ago, and that's also current cases. And so there is a chance that we could see a reduction in that, and I cannot make any promises one way or the other. That would be up to the Attorney General's office. But I know that for the McLean County resident, the accessibility now is significant. The second option, if we abide by the contract and we stick to the amount of money that they're going to pay us and don't go over, the benefit is there is no burden on the McLean County taxpayer. The downside is some of the individuals that work there may have to revert to a contract employee, or not an employee, but a contracted person, and then they could cover that. Now, I want to be clear that because they're my employees, I think it's important to make sure that they're given a landing spot if they don't want to do a contract. And so I have made arrangements for them to have other job offers within the county where they could potentially maintain their current benefits and their current salary. So that's the downside to that. But the upside to that is we're not costing the McLean County taxpayers any money. The third option is elimination of it altogether. And again, if you choose to do that, I will do whatever I can to make sure that everybody within that department has a soft landing spot within county government and are given other options, because we do have vacancies in other departments, and so that they wouldn't be out of position. And again, the burden would then fall on the Attorney General's office to do this, which is where the burden should lie technically. But again, the downside is I have no idea how effective an enforcement that they would be. But it would save a significant amount of money. At this point, this year, we're almost to $115,000 over budget. That is unrealized gains because we are paying for electricity, we're paying for the utilities and services and everything that has to do with upkeep of that room that they are currently inhabiting within the health department. Also, it's unrealized rent that we're not getting from statewide pretrial services because they refuse to pay that. And then also the amount of money that they're not covering, because at this point, they're not even covering the salaries for the full salaries for all of the employees over there. So I hope I've explained that effectively, the pluses and minuses of each option, and then I would submit to you for determination on what it is that you guys want to do.
Let's do questions before we do motions. How about that? How does that sound? Work for everybody? Member Byrne?
Thank you. State's Attorney Reynolds, thank you for the detail. Considering the second option, I would like to see these services stay in McLean County and benefit the people that use them. Obviously, the second option results in a loss of staff. Do you have any indication on, obviously, with the loss of staff, it would affect those services? How much of an effect would it have on the people that are served by this? So if somebody's coming in and needs help receiving child support, does that line get longer, so to speak, if we have this reduction in staff?
Based on the workload, I don't anticipate. Now, I think it definitely is an ebb and flow kind of thing, which is no different than any prosecuting attorney in traffic may have a very heavy day. There may be very light days. And the existing staff may not wish to take that option, certainly, but it's something that, I could try to recruit somebody to do it. And one of the things that if we did eliminate a portion of the staff, or we put them on, if we put all the staff on contract, then they would just be required to handle it 5 days a week. If some of them chose to not utilize that option and wanted to stay full-time, then other options could be provided to them. And if that, took us down to one attorney and there were concerns about that person's ability to handle, then certainly that's something we could reevaluate. And, and maybe I end up with a full-time attorney and then a part-time contract person to supplement that if it's necessary. I can tell you that if we do that option and it becomes clear that assistance is needed, I could pull people from within my office to facilitate that until we get to the point where I'm able to get another part-time person in there.
Do you
If
feel
that-
like, sorry, go ahead.
So if that became necessary, but I certainly think it's something that could be evaluated in real time. But I think that it is something that could be done. If I offered both of those attorneys contract positions, work from home type thing where they work it out amongst themselves. I mean, certainly if you have court 5 days a week and you're only there half the time, that's not a bad gig, at a contract amount, which what would be offered would be the standard contracted amount that I normally offer in the office.
Do you feel like we could make up the difference in the service loss that we would have with the reduction in staff just by being flexible and responding to things as they come up?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Member Hanson?
Clarifying question. So with the second option, is it my understanding that we would then be able to move those attorneys out of the space that they're currently in and then be able to rent that facility to also create additional income? Or am I misunderstanding?
No, that's accurate. So what would be anticipated would be moving those 4 individuals out of there, 2 attorneys, 2 support staff, putting the 2 support staff eventually within my office. Whenever it was necessary, I'd work with county administration, obviously, to do that. And whenever there was somebody that could go in to rent that space, an available renter, then we could make that move. And we would certainly need to fit my office for that, but because of the change in the public defender's office, changed my footprint a little bit, which gave me potential space for that. And then I don't typically offer contract space for contract attorneys. I currently Scott Drzeski, former Judge Drzeski, who does my specialty courts. He requested to have a space, and so I gave it to him because we were down attorneys, but it's certainly not something that's necessary if you're working from home.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? Member Strauss?
So, thanks for all that. Can you re-explain the third option? Because I was thinking one was maybe we were going to do it for 1 year and then transition to take it on ourselves like in the future going forward. And I'm not sure if that's what the third option was, so.
So the third option would be not approving the contract at all and making it go back to the Attorney General's office and having them handle it completely.
Okay.
Which is technically by statute what should be happening, and they should be paying for it. Just to note that Sangamon County and Macon County recently backed out within the last year for these exact reasons. Just lack of attorneys to cover and lack of funding to cover those attorneys. So the first option is status quo with the 4% increase, 1 year extension on the contract. Second is 1 year extension on the contract, refusing to go over budget at all and finding a way to work within those parameters. Third option is no extension whatsoever, refusal to engage with the Attorney General's office and requiring that they come handle it.
Member Ziebert?
With the 2 counties that backed out of the agreement, do we have any awareness of the effectiveness of the state resuming that service?
I do not.
Do not, okay.
Sorry, I apologize.
Anyone else? All right, I have a couple quick things. One, I think you used the Attorney General's office and HFS kind of interchangeably a couple times. You said negotiating that I think you said the Attorney General's office wouldn't pay rent, but it's the contracts with HFS, right?
I apologize. The Attorney General's is who is responsible, but they get their funding through DHS.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everybody.
So, yeah,
Yep.
so I apologize for that. And so when I'm negotiating with the Attorney General's office, but the contract is through them because they are who is paying for it.
Okay. Yeah, I spoke last week with the Attorney General's office and the HFS, and the Attorney General's office hadn't seen the contract when I spoke to them yet, and we're a little shocked that I was asking them about a contract that they hadn't seen. And then HFS didn't answer many questions, but one of the questions I had asked that we had discussed was how much, under statute, they can take up to 20% of what is collected. HFS says nothing is currently being taken as payment. So they're not collecting any of that money that's coming in from the counties. They're not taking any kind of cut of that, is what they've been telling me at least. So that's just for information for you after our discussion. So I guess that's the only question I have. Does anybody have anything else? Member Hanson?
So I've talked with constituents recently about their property taxes quite a bit lately, and it is ever apparent to me that the pressure on our constituents for their property taxes is higher than many have ever felt. Now, with that said, my district, District 8, also has quite a bit of low-income portion of our community, as well as I know many, many, many single-parent families. And so, to me, the second option seems to be the best marriage of responsibly handling taxpayer funding while still ensuring this very, very important service. So I will be in favor of the second option.
Is that a question or a motion? All right, so do we have, Member Byrne? Can you say that into your microphone?
Would like to motion that we accept that second option and extend the service for 1 year.
All right, do I have a second? Second by Member Roseman. All right, do we have any discussion? The motion is to accept the second option, which would be an extension of the contract for 1 year with the flexibility to stay within the dollar amount that is in the contract.
I just wanted to make sure I had it complete in the motion. Thank you.
All right, that's right, right? All right. All right, all those in favor vote aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. Opinion of chairs, ayes have it, and the request for the motion for option 2, which would be extending the contract for 1 year to stay within the financial structure of the contract, is approved. Let's see where we're at here. All right, that's it for action items for the state's attorney's office. We have your caseload and forfeiture fund reports in our packet. Do you have anything you'd like to point out within that?
No, I don't have anything to add. Open to questions, though.
Any other questions? Nope. All right, thank you. We will move on to Mr. Scanlon, Circuit Court. He has two items up for action. 4E1A, which is request approval of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2025 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0001, Circuit Court 00116. And can I have a motion? Motion by Member Burns, second by Member Roseman. Would you like to present this for us?
Yes, I would. First, there's a scrivener's error. That's Fund 0001, and the Circuit Court 0016. There's an additional 1. So just strike the 1 for the full board meeting if this is approved. The first item is the administrative office had provided us a grant for additional services. Speaking of family cases, and they have agreed to, or they have asked us to agree to a small amendment in the current grant to incorporate family mediation. So this would be cases largely involving child support and child custody where the parents aren't married, where persons need to engage in mediation. Normally, because of the cost of mediation, it falls to the parties, and the parties decline to participate, and it just drags the case out. The Administrative Office, Illinois Courts, through their Access to Justice program, would like to see if providing mediation would help resolve these cases in a more efficient and timely fashion. So they're offering a small grant through the end of the state fiscal year, which is now between, the period actually begins May 1 for this, but May 1 to June 30, to identify 7 cases to go through this pilot program and then submit the results of the mediation and the feedback from the parties, how it helped resolve their case, if it resolved their case. And so this appropriation and amendment to the ordinance would be to fund that program. There would be no additional expenditures outside the $2,100, and there would be no obligation to the county to continue it following the evaluation.
All right, does anybody have any questions? Nope. All right, all those in favor, sorry, Member Byrne?
Thank you for the detail. Do you anticipate the data gathered from these findings, assuming if some of these cases do reduce the time where these things are resolved?
We certainly do, because as you know, well, maybe you don't, but those persons who are involved in family cases as opposed to divorce cases were never married, and they don't have that, generally that connection, and they tend to be much more litigious, argumentative, and largely because they're no longer living together. And so to try to engage in a process where they share custody of the child or children and come to agreement about parenting time and schooling and visitation and holidays, it can become a very lengthy and drug-out process. So having a third party outside a judge who can work through those differences and provide proposals and speak to people about other circumstances that they may help them see a way forward, we always feel is helpful.
For sure.
You know, there's an expense because generally these are professionals or attorneys who are engaging in this practice. And so we're hoping this bears some fruit in those cases. And the Access to Justice Project, I mean, quite frankly, is going to turn around, if they see success in many jurisdictions, are going to turn around and try to find funding to do this on a larger scale. And we'd support that as well. But we need to see the results of the initial, because the $300 a case isn't going to be a long-term mediation, something that would last between now and Christmas, kind of thing to get all the issues resolved. So it is a very limited pilot.
For sure. Well, it sounds like it'd be very beneficial. I'm glad to hear that we're looking at expanding beyond it as well. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other questions? No? All those in favor, vote aye. Opposed, nay?
Aye.
Sorry. And the request is approved of an emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2025 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0001, Circuit Court 0016. Next up, we have 4E1B, which is a request approval of an agreement with Dr. Frank Beck for research services. Can I have a motion? Motion by Member Hanson, second by Member Roseman. Want to walk us through this one?
Yes, this is an ongoing request by the Circuit Court, but actually for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council for research services. Currently, we're looking at jail population. We're looking at some of the emerging adults program that Suzanne Montoya has spoken about. We're looking at recidivism in certain case types, and we're looking at juvenile gun violence as ongoing research topics with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council. This research effort has been conducted by Illinois State University, and more specifically by Dr. Frank Beck, since 2012. And so that the previous contract expired on December 31st. We're a little remiss in terms of getting this in front of the committee, but this contract would cover the term from January 1 through December 31 of this year. And we're hoping to get this on a more, on the fiscal year. Previously, we were on the state calendar, state fiscal year. And so it was odd to have a contract extend between fiscal years. This helps us stay on the county fiscal year for this contract. But let me be clear, the previous contract did expire on December 31st, 24, and this one covers a period from January 1 on.
Does anybody have any questions? Nope. All right. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the request is approved for the agreement with Dr. Frank Beck for research services. You have no other items for action. Do you have anything else you'd like to?
I have just a couple items for information. We are currently undergoing a associate judge vacancy in Logan County. You may see a notice. There'll be some changes in scheduling for the circuit court. I'm going to stay after this meeting for anyone who wants to talk about how the circuit court fills an associate judge vacancy. It's a little lengthy, so I don't want to belabor the committee meeting for that, but I'll stay if anyone has an interest. I know there were recent articles. The second item, there were recent articles in both the Panagraph and in WJBC and WGLT regarding the suspension of services in the law library. While the law library remains open and available for persons to do electronic filing, conduct research, and generate forms, there's no staffing in there due to the suspension of those funds. We were told as of today that the Illinois Bar Foundation, which was the underlying funding agency, believes they have existing funding to reinstate that programming beginning Monday, the 12th. Hopefully, we're able to secure the services of our previous person, and that will be through approximately August 15th of 25. And then that funding will expire. Now, if funding isn't restored through the Bar Foundation, we are going to have to look at alternative services. We probably have on average about 600 people a month visit that law library in person for services. And so it is a valuable service. And absent that staffing, those persons are left either on their own or to submit things to the circuit clerk's office, which becomes a very repetitive, time-consuming, frustrating process because the circuit clerk's office can't offer the sufficient legal advice and direction that the law library staff can regarding their filings. And so it becomes a very frustrating public face for the circuit clerk's office. So we're hopeful that this service is restored on Monday the 12th, and we hope that we can come up with a long-term solution either through the Bar Foundation or through other means to retain services. You're going to have lots of personnel who, for a variety of circumstances, may need those services, either in a family case or a civil case, or their friends and family do, and so we want to be responsive to that need. And when I have a solution, we'll communicate that to you. And the third thing is, we've been here before to talk about the Family Treatment Court. It involves persons who are with the juvenile abuse and neglect system. The Family Treatment Court was established last October and has been taking clientele and working those clientele through the problem-solving court with their substance abuse issues or other issues and return of those children. And I can tell you we are having our first graduation of persons who entered the program in October on Wednesday. I know it's not going to be conveniently scheduled, but it's Wednesday, May 21st, 2 weeks from today, at 9:30 in the morning on the third floor. We believe it will be in courtroom 3B, but we'll make sure that we communicate the location. But that's May 21st at 9:30 if you have an interest. It will be open to the public, even though the cases are not open to the public. This graduation will be. The participants have agreed to allow the public to attend. So it's a big moment in these people's lives. It's a big moment for us. Hopefully, we have a lot of success with this program, and this will be the start of that. But you're all welcome to attend, and we will communicate the exact location, but it'll be in the Law and Justice Center. So.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Quick, on point two with the staffing issue, do you know approximately, what's the cost either per day, per week, per month of what that service entails?
It's about
roughly.
it's about a full-time, or about 80% of a staffing cost, so we're probably right at about 36,000 plus the benefits. So, I don't know, somewhere around $48,000 probably for a full-time staff for a year, so.
Anyone else? Nope. All right, we'll move on. Mr. Everhart was unable to make it tonight. His monthly report and his first quarterly report are in the packet. If you have any questions about those, you can reach out to him. Hopefully, we'll see him next month. Next up, Dr. Yoder with the coroner's office. We have no other items for action for you, but your monthly report is in the packet. Do you have anything you'd like to highlight or point out?
I don't have anything to highlight or point out, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? No? All right. Sorry. Next up is Sheriff Lane. We have a couple of items for action for you. We'll start with 4H1A, request approval of an agreement with Mechanical Services, Inc. for construction and installation of pass-through access plates and removable trays for cell doors. And can I have a motion? Motion by Member Ziebart, second by Member Klaus. Sheriff?
Thank you. Chair, this is a contract for food slots to be put into our booking area, which is where the most severely mentally ill folks are held. The current booking, or the current food slots are, the inmate is able to take that hostage, reach out and grab things people they have in the past. So we're trying to find a solution. This company actually designed a removable tray that's a slide through, so that they can't hold that hostage anymore. We can close it off. We can slide their tray through with everything on, anything they need on it. So it's a very good safety adjustment to the jail. And we actually, I think, presented it before and then realized the cost needed an RFP. So that this original company was chosen from the RFP process also. So I think we've been over this once before, but I'll be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Anyone have any questions? I have one, maybe two. So are these just for the doors are they for all of the cells, or are they for just the ones?
Just in booking.
Just in booking?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Then I don't have any other questions. Anybody else? Nope. All right, all those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the request is approved for an agreement with Mechanical Services, Inc. for construction and installation of pass-through access plates and removable trays for cell doors. Next up, we have 4H1B, which is request approval of emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2025 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0001, Sheriff's Department 0029. Can I have a motion? Motion by Member Roseman, second by Member Klaus. Sheriff?
This would be to basically approve the funding transfer for that same project. It's that would, in the end, it will come out of mental health, public safety fund, but it needs your approval to do that.
Any questions? All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. And the request is approved of the emergency appropriation ordinance amending the McLean County fiscal year 2025 combined annual appropriation and budget ordinance for Fund 0001, Sheriff's Department 0029. Next up, we have 4H1C, which is request approval of administrative salary adjustment per code 108. So if there is going to be any discussion regarding this, do I do this, talk about that before we take a motion?
Yes, so you could explain
Okay.
the need for a closed session before
right.
we either take a motion for the regular action item or a motion to go into closed session.
All right. So closed session, if requested pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 122C1 to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreation, or educational setting, or specific volunteers, the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. So I guess we'll have a motion. If anybody wants to discuss, we'll have to go into closed session. So can I have a motion? Start with that. Motion by Member Burns, second by Member Hanson.
Is this a motion for the action item or?
Action.
Okay, thank you.
Does anybody have any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the request is approved for the administration salary adjustment per code 108. We have nothing else for action, Sheriff. We have your monthly statistics report. Is there anything else you'd like to either highlight or mention to us?
No, sir, I have nothing to add. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you all have, though.
Any questions? We are not a question group tonight. Next up, we have 4I, which is Administrator Taylor. Do you have anything for us?
I have no items to present this evening.
All right. Last up, we have other business communication. Our next meeting is June 4th, 2024 at 4 p.m. I would like to thank the McLean County Emergency Management Agency and Director Beck for hosting the continuity of government training put on by FEMA a couple weeks ago. I was able to take a day off of work and spend the day there with the normal police department and Bloomington Fire Department and Police Department and City Hall and a whole collection of other people. So it was a good training. If you want to do other trainings, they do trainings regularly, so reach out and look into that. Anybody have anything else? Nope. Well, then we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody, for coming.